Hello guys, how are we all doing? Welcome back to Premier League and FA Cup predictions, guys. We've got the Premier League Game Week 34 predictions plus 2 FA Cup semi-finals to predict all in one video today. It's going to be a special one, so let's set a big like target. 2,000 likes. Sophie, we hit the like target last week.
Hey, well done everyone.
Yay.
There you go, sarcastic clap.
Let's do it again. Hit the like button, guys. Your support has been fantastic. There's only a few weeks of the Premier League season to go. Make sure you're subscribed so you get your football fix over here as well. And before we get into the predictions, Sophie, the scores on the doors are there. Once again, there wasn't actually a lot between our points. You're still very far ahead overall. And how are you?
Yeah, I'm well, thank you. But I think my predictions were way off the mark last week, so here's hoping a better week.
Yep, there's some big games coming, and let's kick it off, Sophie, at Kenilworth Road. We head to Luton Town versus Brentford. It's a big game down at the bottom. Now, let's start with the away team first, Sophie. Brentford, they've been a funny team over the last few weeks. Ivan Toney came back, but he didn't really have the desired effect.
No.
And they've been sat hovering above the relegation battle for a few weeks. But that 2-0 win against Sheffield United last week has possibly just done it for them now.
Yeah, I think it could have, to be honest. I kind of look at them right now as safe. I know mathematically they're not, but I feel like they are.
I think so. I think I said it'd be about 31, 32 points to stay up. So I think Brentford have probably just done enough, albeit if they lose this, the gap will close a bit because Luton Town are 18th. Now, as for Luton, Sophie, we didn't expect them to get anything against Man City. It's the biggest free hit you're ever going to get. They lost 5-1. The positive to take is they got a goal. Ross Barkley scored. All of their attention turned to this one because this is winnable. Now, Brentford are a good team. They did turn Luton over 3-1 back at their place. But at Kenilworth Road, and knowing that Luton have a real chance of staying up, but they need results, I think they get something here. The question is it going to be a draw or is it going to be a win? Brentford are no mugs, so I think it could be a 1-1, but for the sake of chaos, I'll just edge Luton Town. They got that last-minute winner against Bournemouth. I think it could be similar. They've got to be really good because Brentford are a good team.
They are.
But if Luton Town could be at their best, I don't see why not. I'll go Luton 2, Brentford 1 to put the cat amongst the pigeons.
That'd be insane. I genuinely see either side winning this, and that's why I think I'm going to have to go down the middle. I see there being a few goals, you know. I'm going to say 2-2.
Yeah?
Yeah, 2-2 draw, which isn't a terrible result.
Yeah.
It's a point for Luton.
Luton Town always score.
Yeah, they tend to, yeah.
Even against Man City, they got a goal, so fair play to them. Big game that. Luton Town really can't afford to lose. A draw would drag them level with Forest if Forest lose, but they can't rely on that. So I think they need to go for the win. On to the next one, so this is big. It's Sheffield United versus Burnley. It's the bottom two. Now, let's be honest, Sophie, these two teams have really stunk it out this season. Despite Everton and Forest having points deductions, they've both been a bit adrift, haven't they?
Yeah.
In particular, Sheffield United. Now, Sheffield United are 4 points behind Burnley with a game in hand. And with the home advantage here, if they can get the win, which I think is possible, then they will be 1 point behind them with a game in hand. I think the best they can hope for is to just keep kicking the can down the road. And if they can get to a position in the final 2 games of the season where either of these are still have a mathematical chance, that's probably the best they can hope for. Both teams have got to win it. A draw would just drag them both down. I think Sheffield United are more desperate for the win, given that they're a bit further adrift. But Burnley will look at this as, well, we need the win because we've actually got a more realistic chance of staying up.
Yeah.
To be honest, I can't call it. I don't think a draw is any good for either of them, but I'm going to go for one. I'm going to go 2-2. My thinking here is Burnley are probably slightly better. They did smash Sheffield United back at Turf Moor, but since Chris Wilder's come in, Sheffield United have been a little bit better. In some games they've been blown away, but in some games they've been competitive. I'm going to go for a draw, which probably doesn't help either team out, but I'm sorry.
Well, I'm actually picking a winner.
Go on.
Burnley. Go on, 2-1 Burnley. I just feel like Burnley want it a little bit more than Sheffield United. It just seems recently Sheffield United's performances are almost like, okay, we accept that we're going down. They released a statement about points deduction when they do go down, and it's almost like they've accepted it at this point. So for me, Burnley are going to have a bit more fight about them, and they're going to get the 3 points. Big 3 points as well. 2-1.
Yeah, and that would surely be the final nail in the coffin for Sheffield United if they do lose. I just have a feeling, though, with Chris Wilder being the more experienced of the two and them having the home advantage, I think Sheffield United might get something. They might win, but there you go. It's a difficult one to call. Share your thoughts on that one. It's probably going to be a championship game next year, but let's see if either one of these can take it to the final game. On to the next one, Sophie. We go to Wolverhampton Wanderers versus Arsenal. Now, let's start with Wolves first. They got a 2-2 draw at Forest. I did back them to draw that. Cunha, what a goal from him.
He's such a good player, though, isn't he? He's so good.
That first goal for Wolves from Cunha was unbelievable. He cut inside, it went in off the post, top corner. Wolves have been a tricky team in terms of form. Very difficult to predict, but as we keep saying, injuries. But do you know what? They've got enough fit players to give Arsenal a game right now. Arsenal might be a bit fatigued, having flown back from Germany in midweek. Do you know what? I don't like to say this, but I do worry that Arsenal's season is possibly going the same way last season went. That 2-0 defeat to Villa might just be the catalyst for a bit of a wobble here. Arsenal, I've got absolutely no problem with you, but I think you might drop some more points here. I think the thing is, the pressure's maybe getting to some of the teams, and Man City, it's in their hands now, which makes it even more unbearable for Arsenal and Liverpool. I'm going to go for Wolves to get a draw. 1-1.
Oh, okay. I'm actually going to really upset the Arsenal fans here. It's going to be back-to-back defeats. Wolves are going to get a 2-1 win for me. I know. It just seemed like Arsenal didn't turn up for the Villa game, and I think it's going to be another loss. 2-1 Wolves.
Yeah, if Arsenal don't score early, or it's a fairly tight game and the later the game goes on, you feel like Wolves will grow into it if they're still in it. Share your thoughts, guys. We're going for a little bit of a surprise there. On to the next one, Soph. Let's go to a massive 6-pointer at Merseyside. Everton take on Nottingham Forest. Now, both Forest and Everton have had a pretty poor start to the week. Forest fans have been outraged by the new ticketing prices at the City Ground. Meanwhile, Everton lost 6-0 to Chelsea at Stamford Bridge on Monday in their most recent game. As for Nottingham Forest, as we said, they drew with Wolves, which I think that's possibly 2 points dropped. They did go behind, they did come back. It's the home games where you think Forest are more likely to secure the points. That said, I think Forest will maybe get a draw here. It could be a really crucial point, but it also depends on how Luton get on this weekend. But I just have a feeling that Forest can get a draw. I'm not going to go for either team to win this one. I don't know just yet how good a draw will be for either team. If Luton lose, it's a decent point for both. If Luton win, then both are under serious pressure. But there's never a lot to separate Everton and Forest. Everton may be slight favourites with the home advantage, but Forest are a bit of a drawy team, which makes you think they'll be in this game, and therefore 1-1.
I'm going to go 0-0. So a draw, but I see it being a stalemate. If I was to edge anyone, I probably would lean towards Forest, you know. I know Everton are the favourites. Well, they probably would be the favourites, but for me, it'd probably be Forest. I'm not backing it though, I'm backing a draw. I'm going to say 0-0. They cancel each other out. Yeah,
it sounds like a very Sean Dyche versus Nuno result, actually. There won't be many goals in it.
I don't think so. I don't think so.
Watch it be 3-3.
I know, like we know nothing.
Everton and Forest fans, share your thoughts. I think it could be a very nervy atmosphere at Goodison Park. It's a big game, and a win for either would be massive. A loss, of course, would be crushing. I have backed both of these teams for most of the season to get over the line, but if Luton do get a win against Brentford, then that really will put the pressure on. They could both do with a win, but I'm going for a draw. Forest fans, Everton fans, do share your thoughts. On to the next one, Sophie, and we go to Villa Park. Aston Villa take on Bournemouth. Now, Aston Villa, Sophie, probably the result of the weekend, going to Arsenal and winning 2-0.
Yeah, I mean, it's looking like that 4th place is theirs now.
Yeah, if you look at the remaining fixtures, Spurs would have to do very well to displace Aston Villa now.
Yeah, I think they've got it secured now. Obviously, that's not for sure, but I'm pretty certain on it.
There's a very good chance Villa are going to win the Conference League and finish 4th, which would be
a very, very good season.
Probably their best season in 20 plus years. I mean, Villa fans would have to fact check that, but that would be an unbelievable season. This one's a tricky one. Bournemouth, as we keep saying, even when they come up against top teams, can give them a game. And they did get a 2-2 against Man United last week. It was nearly a win. They had a penalty not given in the last minute, which was maybe a bit of a dubious one. I think it'll be a very close game, but Villa maybe just turn a point into 3 in the late stages. I'll go Villa 2, Bournemouth 1.
With this one, Villa have got to be the favourites, especially because they've just beat Arsenal. But I wouldn't be surprised if they now just backed it up with a draw against Bournemouth. I'm going to do it. I'm going to back a 2-2.
Yeah.
I think they're perfectly capable of getting another draw. They've just done it against Man United. Why can't they do it against Villa? It's going to be tough, but I can see them doing it. And to be fair, it's not a terrible result to get a draw here.
The only problem is Tottenham don't play this weekend, and they'll then have 2 games in hand on Villa. And it maybe be back in their hands if Villa don't win. Bournemouth are a good team. Villa just very good this season, and they've taken 6 points off Arsenal, who are going for the league, so massive credit to them. On to the next one, and we go to Crystal Palace versus West Ham United. Now, both of these teams, with their results last week, left egg on our faces when it came to our predictions, because we both backed Palace to lose to Liverpool, which they didn't. They won. And we both backed West Ham to beat Fulham, which they didn't. They lost. I'm going to go for a Palace win, but I guarantee I've now jinxed it, and it's going to be a West Ham win.
Honestly.
But I'll go Palace 2-1, because how good were they against Liverpool?
Yeah, it was the performance of the season.
Yeah, they've pretty much cemented their place in the Premier League for another season. Now, for West Ham United, their season seems to have derailed. Palace 2-1.
Yeah, as I've just said, Palace put in probably one of their best performances of their season against Liverpool. If they can do the same again, I think they could absolutely turn over West Ham. But I'm not going to say they're going to spank them. I'm going to back them to win. West Ham, you let us down. I can't back you to get anything here. And I've got to go for Palace. It'd be the most Premier League thing for West Ham to now win this game. But for me, Palace are going to do it. It's a very, very good performance against Liverpool. And I think it's going to be another good one. 2-0.
2-0 Palace. Yeah, it's... based on the recent results, you'd suggest Palace, but the Premier League keeps throwing up some weird results, doesn't it? On to the final Premier League prediction for this video before we go on to the FA Cup semi-finals. We've got Fulham versus Liverpool at Craven Cottage. Wow. Now, Fulham, Sophie, they picked up a great win against West Ham. They're very up and down, aren't they? They belong in the middle of the table, because they're up, they're down, they belong in the middle. As for Liverpool, Sophie, the trajectory of their season is just going down right now. Wow, it's been a really damaging couple results for them.
It's been a bad week.
It really has. Now, even though I am a massive fan of Jurgen Klopp, and I do really like Liverpool, when it goes wrong, it can really go wrong. You think back to the season after they'd won the Premier League, things really went wrong. Yeah, do you know what? It might be a bit of a surprise, but I will go for Fulham to win and Liverpool to lose again, just because they both proved me wrong last week. So I'll go Fulham 2-1.
Oh, wow. Okay, I'm actually going to back a 2-2 draw, which wouldn't be enough for Liverpool at all. Honestly, it is. Wheels have come off with Liverpool right now. It's not a good result against Atalanta. A really bad result in the league against Crystal Palace. Be interesting to see now if some of the Liverpool fans are thinking, do you know what, maybe it is Jurgen Klopp's time not to go, but for something different. Yeah, I don't see them getting the win here. 2-2 for me.
It's a shame. I know we both like Liverpool quite a lot, but...
I like Liverpool and I like Jurgen Klopp, and it is sad to see him go, but right now, do they need something different in a manager?
They're a massive club. They're a massive club. They're going to come back strong. They might still be able to salvage this season, but with Jurgen Klopp going in the summer, there will be some rebuilding work to go. Right, that's going to wrap up the Premier League predictions. Let's quickly move on to 2 FA Cup semi-finals, Sophie. Let's start with the less interesting one, Manchester City versus Chelsea. I'm only joking, guys. I think this could be a really good matchup. Now, Manchester City, quite clearly overwhelming favourites. However, Sophie, Chelsea have taken 2 draws off Manchester City in the Premier League this season. They got a 4-4 draw at Stamford Bridge and then a 1-1 draw at the Etihad. Poch might just be able to pull something out the bag here. And if I'm to be a little bit selfish and look through this from my Coventry perspective, if by some chance Coventry get to the final, I'd rather play Chelsea
100%.
Because Man City would rip us to shreds, but I won't count my chickens yet.
I mean, so could Chelsea, to be fair. We're not saying they're not capable of it, but Man City is always impossible.
Sorry, Pochettino in a final, they would not beat us. We'd be the favourites. But if we're being serious, I am going to go for Man City. I don't think there'll be a lot in it.
No, I don't think so.
I think Chelsea can give them a good go, but I'm going to go Man City 2-1.
Yeah, I'm going 2-1 as well, and I don't know if that's going to be in full time or extra time, but I do see Man City getting it over the line. I don't see it going to penalties, but I do see Man City progressing. 2-1.
Share your thoughts on that one, guys. That's FA Cup semi-final 1 on the Saturday. And let's move on to FA Cup semi-final 2 on the Sunday. Wow, I cannot wait for this. Do look out for the match vlog, probably coming out Monday morning. I'll see if I can get it out Sunday night, but obviously I'll be travelling back from Wembley. I'm looking forward to this, Sophie. It's the first time in my lifetime Coventry have got to an FA Cup semi-final and to be facing Manchester United as well. I mean, this is just going to be a magic occasion. Even if Manchester United win, which they are the favourites for,
obviously, yeah.
Coventry fans have got to embrace it and enjoy it.
Yeah, what I think could play a factor is Man United fans, anyway, are already seeing themselves in the final. So if the Man United players see it that way, I think we've got a chance.
Yeah, let's get into the nuts and bolts of it, Sophie. Coventry City have had a pretty good season on the whole, but I have vented my frustrations recently at the last few results in the Championship. We've lost 3 of our last 4 games, and the defeat to Birmingham was absolutely atrocious. If we play like that in the final, we'd get eaten alive. It would be double digits. Thankfully, I don't think it can be any worse than it was. The thing is, Sophie, if we turn up and play at our absolute best, we might have a chance. We've beaten Leeds, we've beaten Leicester, we've beaten Wolves this season. Potentially all going to be Premier League teams next season. Let's talk about Manchester United. We do like to banter about Manchester United every now and then and say how the team's not as good as the club are, because the club are the biggest. The Manchester United as a club are huge.
Yeah.
The team is not the best. They're fighting around 6th or 7th in the Premier League. If Coventry really turn up and Manchester United have one of their off days, there could be very little in it. But I'm talking, you know, Coventry have got to be really on it. They've got to take the chances when they come, because, you know, we might find that we only get 3 or 4 shots in the game, and we've got to be as tight as we can be at the back. I'm not going to lose my head if we lose to Manchester United by a goal or 2. They're the favourites. But let's try and give a good account of ourselves on the TV. We're going to be, you know, on worldwide telly, Sophie. We've not been in the top flight for a long time. This is our biggest game in a long time. Do you know what? I'm going to take the pressure off Coventry and go with the favourites, Manchester United.
Yeah.
That way, my expectations are fairly realistic going into this one. I'll go Coventry 1. Man United 3. I'm going to go with Coventry to get a goal, which would be nice. If we could take it to extra time, that would be incredible to show we can go toe-to-toe with them. If we win, that would be remarkable. But I am going to go with Manchester United to edge it. The only thing I will say, the final thing I'll say, is if we lose to Manchester United due to them being great and better than us, that's fair enough.
I'll take that.
If they beat us on a dubious penalty that Bruno Fernandes scores, I will lose my head.
Yeah.
I really don't want to lose that way. Like I say, if we lose due to them being better than us, that's fair enough.
Take it.
What's your thoughts?
Last few games I felt quite confident and I've been backing us, and we've not got the result. So because I'm a little bit superstitious, I'm thinking if I go against us, we could do it. Obviously the pressure's not on us. There's massive pressure on Man United and on Ten Hag, and I think if we beat them, that's Ten Hag gone. But it's going to pay me to say it. I almost don't want to say it, but 2-1 Man United. I'm going to say it's a fairly close game. I think Coventry will turn up for this. I think we're going to play some good football, which we're capable of. But Man United are just going to edge it. So yeah, 2-1.
Yeah. Guys, do share your thoughts on that one. Obviously, we know Casey Palmer is suspended, but for those players that can play, please, honestly, I don't think any of them are going to be watching this, but please just give it your best go.
Yeah.
Because this is a massive opportunity. The fans are turning up in their numbers, and if we can get a goal and make a good account of ourselves, that would be fantastic. We've really thrown away our league campaign lately, so it really does come down to this. Just give it your all, and who knows. That wraps it up, Sophie. It's a bit of a sour note to end it on. We've both gone for Coventry to lose, but I did back us to lose against Wolves, and we won. So
yeah, true. So I know I'm going against us in the hope that we win.
There you go. Share your thoughts, guys. If you're going to Wembley, say hello if you see me down there. Obviously, the vlog will come when I can get it out. And that wraps up the Premier League and FA Cup predictions for this week. Bit of a mixed video. If you've enjoyed it, please make sure to drop a like. We're going for 2,000 likes. It's free to do, so please hit the like button. It's free to subscribe as well, so get involved. Thank you for joining me, Sophie.
Thank you.
We will see you guys in the next one. Have a great weekend. Peace out.